So, do you ever feel like you're not enough, not strong enough, not good enough, not productive enough, not normal enough? That nagging voice whispering, if you were just more capable, more independent, more like everyone else, then you'll be valuable. That voice, that is not your voice. That's internalized ableism. And today we're exposing how society's narratives chips away at your self-worth and exactly how to break free and reclaim your power because you are enough, more than enough, just as you are, exactly as you are enough. Let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to InspireAbility. This is where we tackle real life hard truths about living with chronic illness and disabilities. I am Ruby, and if you've ever felt shame about needing help, if you felt guilty about not being productive enough, or like you're someone less than because of your disabilities, this discussion is for you. We're going to dive, dive very deep into internalized ableism. Today is the day to crack that nut. So hit subscribe, turn on notification, let's unmask the lies you've been believing for quite some time. All right, so let's start with what internalized ableism actually is. And this is when you absorb society's negative beliefs about disabilities and apply them to yourself. So it's the voice in your head saying that I'm a burden. I should be able to do this on my own. I'm not trying hard enough. If I just pushed harder, I'll be better. I'm lazy because I need help. These are not your thoughts. They are the society's ableist, and they are the narratives they've actually succeeded in making you internalized. So here's how it works. From childhood, we've been taught independence is equal to successful productivity, and that is what determines who and what you're worth. We've been taught that physical ability equals capability. We've been taught that needing help equals weakness. For example, yeah, things along the line of, oh, you're so inspirational for just existing. Have you tried this certain cure or this treatment? Oh, you don't look sick. I could never do what you do, implying your life is tragic. And slowly, subtly, you start believing all these comments. You start believing that your worth is tied to what you can't produce. And you start thinking you should apologize for needing adjustments. And you also start nursing the thoughts that you're failing because you don't keep up with the able bodied people. This is how you begin to internalize those thoughts and they begin to erode your self worth. And it doesn't happen through very big moments, it's actually through 1,000 tiny cuts, microaggressions, media portrayals, unsolicited pity, inspiration porn. It happens very subtly, very gradually, several times. Then, before you realize it, you begin to police yourself. You begin to think so hard and you begin to view yourself the way society wants you to view yourself. So, where does this come from? Internalized ableism doesn't come from nowhere. Let's trace it back. The first source is inspiration porn. Inspiration porn is when a disabled person is actually portrayed as being inspirational simply for existing or doing something ordinary. You will just, wow, she's an inspiration. An example is, oh, she has cerebral palsy and she still graduated college. Or you sometimes see photos of disabled people with captions like, what's your excuse? And you might see some diagram somewhere with is in a wheelchair and still smiling. This is harmful because it's sending a message. And the message is that disabled life is inherently tragic. Another message is sending across is you should be grateful just to survive, or that your value is in overcoming your disability, not in being human. And before you realize, you start thinking, I need to be extraordinary to be valuable. I can't complain because others have it worse. Or my pain isn't valid unless I'm also achieving something. And these are terrible things that start playing in your mind. So society treats disability as a source of problem to solve, not a reality to accept. And that's source number two, the fix it mentality. The society said, oh, disability, this is a problem, we need to fix it. Every doctor's visit, they give you new treatments, suggest new things that you must try. Every family gathering, oh, you heard family members saying, oh, I saw something online, have you tried this? Even strangers will come and give you suggestions, or oh, there's somebody I know that uses one essential oil. Oh, there's positive thinking, have you tried that? You get all of this from all angles, all sorts of comments. But the underlying message is you're broken and we need to fix this. They're telling you that your current state is unacceptable and something has to be done about it. And they're saying that you should be constantly pursuing normal. And before you know it, you've internalized this and you tell yourself, I'm not good enough as I am. I'm failing because I'm not meeting up with the demands. And if I don't keep up to seek improving myself or seeking improvement, then I am failing. And they also make you start thinking accepting your disability is actually giving up on life and accepting tragic occurrence about yourself, about your life. Historically, disabled people were institutionalized, hidden from society, medicalized, and dehumaned. Completely, the right word for this would be they completely dehumanized. You will think they are not human beings the way society historically treated disabled people. And that's source number three. Historically, disabled people were viewed very differently. They were denied education, they were denied employment, they were denied autonomy, they were tainted, they were something society chose not to accept. So while over time the law changed and several laws have changed over time, the attitude have not completely shifted. There's still some several lingering things out there about disability. So the idea that disabled people are tragic, burdensome, less capable, less valuable, they still linger in our cultural subconscious. And we absorb it. Before we know it, we consciously start rejecting it, even if we are the disabled person, even if we are the one that has this chronic condition, we'll begin to unconsciously reject who we are. Now, let's go personal. How does internalized ableism show up in your life? Pattern one, the not disabled enough paradox. So, do you ever minimize your own disability? It's not that bad. Or compare yourself to more disabled people, or feel guilty using adaptation, or someone needs it more than I do. So, you avoid disability parking because you can still walk. All of these things, if you do them, is that you're actually internalizing something not too good for you. So you're trying to distance yourself from disability. You're trying to see it as a stigma that you should run away from. and you're trying to prove that you're not disabled, or that your disability is not really affecting your life, is not part of your life, but you are disabled enough to need support, full stop. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to interpret it anyway. You need to live with the reality of what you are. Pattern number two is perfectionism and productivity. Do you overwork to prove your worth? Do you feel guilty for resting? Do you measure your value by outcome? Do you apologize excessively for needing help? This is you trying to earn your right by existing. This is you trying to prove by being productive enough that you're worth being in that space with everybody else. But your worth is not tied to your productivity. You're valuable because you're human, not because you produce. And you need to tell yourself that and remind yourself that, regardless of how society chooses to interpret that. The third pattern is avoiding disability community. So you try to avoid identifying as a disabled person, you distance yourself from other disabled people, you feel uncomfortable in disabled spaces. You just think in your head, oh no, I'm not like them. This is internalized stigma. You've absorbed the message that disability is bad, so you distance yourself from it. But disability community is where you find some basic things that you need to thrive. You find understanding, solidarity, shared experience, empowerment. Avoiding this will mean that you stay isolated and you feel more stigmatized as time goes on. All right, so we've identified the problem. Now, let's dismantle it. Strategy one: mindfulness and self compassion. So, when you catch yourself in the negative self talk, step one, you notice it. I am thinking I'm lazy for needing help. Step two, you name the source. This is internalized ableism. Society taught me that rest is equal to laziness. Then step three, you reframe it. Rest is a biological need. My body requires it. That's not laziness, that's wisdom. Mindfulness creates the distance between you and the thought. And self compassion replaces judgment with kindness. You need both to be able to overcome what the society has fed into you from a very long time. Strategy number two is reclaim the language. So stop using comments that are very common. Things along the lines of disably different. You're disabled and that's okay. Special needs. You have needs like everyone else. Handicapped. Disability isn't a dirty word. Do say disabled. It's not an insult. You can't say it and it's okay to say it. I need adjustment, reasonable adjustment. That's not special treatment. I'm not lazy. I'm managing a chronic condition. You need to do this because language shapes thoughts. You need to reclaim the words so that you can reclaim the power from the society. Strategy number three is seek disabled voices. I need you to consume content by disabled people, not about us. Follow disabled creators. A lot of people out there writing about disability, but they've never lived it. Look for those that have lived it and read their content. They will help you. Read disability articles. Join disability communities. When you see people who look like you, talk like you, experience what you experience, and they are thriving, it breaks the narrative that disability is a tragedy and it is awful and bad. So you start seeing and experiencing disability joy. You start seeing disabled success. You start seeing disabled pride. You start seeing disabled humanity. And that's what you need to change that narrative in your mind. This helps you to even realize that, you know what, I can do this too. I can live this life. I can have joy, have pride, be valuable in my society. Now, let's talk about rebuilding self worth from the ground up. Step one, you celebrate disability culture. Disability culture is rich. We have art, music, literature created by disabled people. We have advocacy movements that have changed laws. We have innovation and adaptive design born from necessity, community, and solidarity. So you're part of something powerful. It's not tragic, it's actually powerful. Embrace that power. Step two is set boundaries. You don't owe anyone, one, an explanation for your disability. You don't owe them constant positivity. You don't owe them any inspiration. You don't owe them any reason to perform wellness, not at any time. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to rest without being guilty. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to exist without justifying your existence. You're allowed to be you at any time you choose to be. Step number three is daily affirmation, because this can counter those internal things you've absorbed over the years. You could tell yourself, I'm valuable exactly as I am. My worth is not tied to my productivity. Needing help doesn't make me weak. I'm not a burden. My disability doesn't diminish my humanity. Say them out loud, write them down, repeat them until they are louder than the lies you've been told for years. Now, listen, internalizing stigma is actually very, very real, and it's insidious. It's been drilled into you since childhood through 1,000 tiny messages all out there in society. But you're not, and I repeat, you're not a burden. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not less than. You are human, fully, completely, beautifully human. And your worth doesn't change based on what you can produce, how independent you are, how closely you resemble normal, how inspirational you are to the able bodied people. So, yes, your challenge for this week: catch one of those negative thoughts, name it, reframe it, replace it with truth. Do this every day and watch your self worth rebuild right from the ground up. So, you are enough. I want you to say it with me now. I am enough. Let's say it again. I am enough. Yes, because you are. Now, if this video helped you recognize that those internal thoughts you've grown up with have not been helpful and have actually made you not embrace who you are now, why don't you drop a comment below and say, I am enough? Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for weekly empowerment and practical strategies. I want you to download the free resource. It will really, really help you. Remember, you're not broken. You're not less than. You're exactly who you are meant to be. I want you to remember that and say that to yourself all through this week. I am more than enough. I am Ruby, and this is InspireAbility, and we are reclaiming our worth. I'll see you next week. But as always, I want to leave you with this. Your worth is inherent. Your disability doesn't diminish it. You're more than enough. This is InspireAbility, and see you next week. Bye for now. Bye.